Hi everyone. So in today's session we will discuss about the plant tissue culture. Here we will come to know the history, scope and significance of the plant tissue culture, and later on we will understand the concept of the cellular totipotency. Okay, so let's begin. Before we rewind the years and get stuck into how and when about the tissue culture, we should take a look at what the tissue culture actually is. The tissue culture is a name given to an in vitro method of cultivating cells, organs, and tissues, whether it may be of the animals or it may be of the plants, with a nutrient solution in the lab conditions. A glass container is usually used for this method. In this technique, the living cells can be maintained for some time outside of the organism's body. Another name for the tissue culture is sterile culture. Here, small pieces of tissues named as explants can be used to produce 100 plants or 1000 plants in continuous process. A single explant can be multiplied into several thousands plants in relatively short time period and space under controlled conditions, irrespectively with seasons and the weathers. Here, the endangered, threatened, and rare species have successfully been grown and conserved by the micropropagation because of the high coefficient of multiplication and small demands on number of initial plants and the space. We have to say thanks to the plant tissue culture, we are able to raise new plants outside the original host body. The artificial medium is usually gathered from the tips of the shoots and roots, as well as we can see pin muscle parts of the seeds, callus, ovule, cells, pollen grain, or the embryo. So, what is tissue culture? It is the production of new plants from a small piece of a plant tissues or a cells removed from the growing tips of the plant in suitable growth medium is called as the tissue culture. So, the growing tips must be root tip or the shoot tip or the explants like a leaf, stem, as well as the roots. Only the explants like leaf, stem, and the roots must be used in the tissue culture, and it must be the tip only. In this process, the growth medium or the culture solution is very important as it is used for the growing plant tissues because it contains various plants nutrients in the form of jelly known as the agar and the plant hormones which are necessary for the growth plant. The process of tissue culture for producing new plants. Firstly, a small piece of a plant tissue is taken from a growing point of the plant or from the tip of the plant, and it is placed in a sterile jelly container which is having nutrients and the plant hormones. The hormones make the cells in the tissues to divide rapidly and produce many cells which forms the shapeless lumps of masses known as callus. The callus is then transferred to another jelly container having a plant hormone which stimulates the callus to develop the roots. Then the callus with developed root is then put on another jelly container which is having different hormones which stimulate the development of the shoots. The callus having root and shoots are separated into tiny plantlets. In this way, many tiny plantlets are produced from just a few original plant cells or the tissues. And lastly, the plantlets thus produced are transplanted into pots or the soil where they can grow to form a mature plants. Moving towards the history of plant tissue culture, it all began in 1832 when a man named by Theodore Scaven presented a crazy idea that we can grow cells outside the original host body as long as an external conditions are provided for it. These external conditions would need to create a sterile environment for tissue culture to develop. 3 years after this, a scientist named William Rocks proved the theory in 1835. The Rocks successfully performed the culture of embryonic chicken cells by using the salt solution in the culture media. Fast forward another 4 years to 1839, and another man by the name Richinger, he proposed the first parameter for this revolutionary method. According to the Richinger's experiment, the tissue culture method would only be successful if the fragments or the explants had minimum thickness of 1.5 mm. Any piece thinner than 1.5 mm would not be able to grow in the tissue culture. For almost 50 years after this advancement, in 1885, a researcher observed the growth of a leukocyte cells from the salamander in an artificial environment. And in 1903, another researcher noticed the same thing. In 1907, a scientist named Rose Harrison, an American zoologist, was able to culture the nerve cells from the frog in solidified lamp. There were several other successful tissue culture processes throughout the century, and in 1929, the first organ culture was successfully performed in England by a scientist named D.H. Fell. Although tissue culture has been around since the beginning of 18th century, the plant tissue culture only began developing in 1898. Gottlieb Haberland, a German botanist, made the first attempt to use the in vitro method when grow the plant tissues. He is known as the father of plant tissue culture. The cells he used were palisade tissues which were coming from the leaves, pith, epidermis and the epidermal hair. This initial experiment was fruitful for several months. However, the cells did not multiply further. Over these years, many experiments used similar parameter. In this experiment, the cells survived for longer time, but they also failed to multiply or increase in the number. The first root tips were cultured in 1922 and by making use of the subculturing maintained their cultured roots for 20 weeks. In 1930s, it was recognized that B vitamins and auxins were the components in the growing root culture using the tissue culture method. Overall, the following centuries, many similar experiments were conducted, and the researchers began identifying the most important parameter that should guide our tissue culture process today. These are the pointers of the plant tissue culture. Seeing to the scope of the plant tissue culture, here the career plays an important role. Research facilities and food companies often hire the plant biotechnologist at several levels. Careers in these fields like plant biotechnology lab technician, biological engineer, plant and crop physiologist, plant pathologist, plant breeder. And the students who have graduated with the certificate in the plant biotechnology can go to the work in several different positions in the field of agriculture and the food science. Those seeking to work in plant biology can choose the forms of the careers like food science technician, plant biochemist, and agricultural manager. They can work in many fields like a farming, industry, or teaching position. Generally, all positions require a bachelor degree or the advanced degree. From the pharmaceutics to the food science, the field of plant study has wide applications in terms of the career options. Three considerations for the career in plant biology, like a food science technician, plant biochemist, and the agricultural manager. So, in food science technician, since the plants are used as the food, some graduates venture into the food industry as the food scientist, also known as the food technologist. So they work to improve the way that the food is developed. Their focus might often be in the areas such as the processing, packing, and preserving the foods. They may also work to create a new food products. And in plant biochemist, by the studying the chemical makeup of the plants, biochemists focus on the biotechnology work in the labs. They analyze the way of the plant grow and reproduce and metabolize when they faced and various combinations of the chemicals and compositions. And in agricultural manager, the students interested in the agricultural management typically work on the farm. A bachelor degree is recommended to make a career in this field, and the work experience and the job training which provides the essential skills. The agricultural managers are concerned with the factors that affect the crop growth and livestock management. And the minimum requirements for the plant biology careers, here the candidates must have a minimum bachelor degree, and many students pursue the advanced degrees also. For some careers in the plant biology, the work experience will be useful for the job advancement than the higher level degrees. If we talk about the significance of the plant tissue culture, the plant tissue culture are associated with a wide range of applications. The plant tissue culture is very useful in the fields of pharmaceutical field, medicinal field, and other industries. It helps in to study the respiration and metabolism of the plants, to know the valuation of organ functioning in the plants, also helps in the study of various plant diseases and to work out the methods for their eliminations. With the help of the plant tissue culture, the immature embryo can be cultured in vitro to produce the hybrids, and the mutant cells can be selected from the cultures to use for the crop improvement. And also you can produce the haploids for the improving crops and in production of the variant clones with the new characters, and this phenomenon is known as the somoclonal variations. And this plant tissue culture also helps in the somatic embryos from the cell suspension, which can be stored for the long term in the germplasm banks. So this was all about the plant tissue culture. Here you came to know about the tissue culture, history, scope and its significance. Moving towards the next topic, that is totipotency. So what is this totipotency? So we know that plant grows by increasing its cell population while the cells are specialized in their functions. This increasing in the cell population is done by the cell division, that we know it as a mitosis. Before a mother cell divides into two daughter cells, it makes an exact copy of its genome first. As a result, the two daughter cells usually have exactly the same genetic makeup as their mother cell. Therefore, every living cell of the plant should contain all the genes that the plant has and thus has the capacity to grow back to a full plant. This is called as cell totipotency. So, before that, we will come to know what is the word potency means. The word potency, it is the ability or the capacity to achieve or bring about a particular result. Okay, so potency means what? It is an ability or the capacity or to bring about the particular result in the cells. Now we will combine the word the cell potency. So what is cell potency? Here cell potency means cells ability to differentiate into other cells. Okay, so the term totipotency has two basically differentiated interpretations. Firstly, it is capable of developing into complete organism. Secondly, it is capable of differentiating into any cell type of an organism. Okay, so the potencies are of four types. The first one, it is pluripotency. So this pluripotency, it refers to the stem cells that has the potential to differentiate into any three germ layers. They are endoderm, mesoderm and the ectoderm. The second one, it is multipotency. So this multipotency describes the progenitor cells. What are these progenitor cells? So these are the biological cells like stem cells has the tendency to differentiate into a specific type of a cell, but it is already more specific than the stem cell and is pushed to differentiate into a target cell. So these progenitor cells which have a gene activation potential to differentiate into a disaggregate cells, like example in the blood stem cells. And the third one, that is the oligopotency. Oligopotency means it is having the ability of the progenitor cells, means the target cells, to differentiate into the few cell types. And finally the last one, that is unipotency. The unipotency is the concept that one stem cells has the capacity to differentiate into only one cell type. So these are the four potencies. So what is cellular totipotency? Here the cells are having ability to differentiate into other cell types. Now coming to the terminologies of the cellular totipotency, the terminologies are differentiation, callus and somatic embryogenesis. So what is a differentiation now? So the differentiation, it is a process by which the mature cells lose their differentiated character and they rejuvenate. Rejuvenate means it gives new cells or the cells are restored here. Or you can say it is a process in which the tissues that have undergone the cell differentiation can be made to reverse the process so as to become the primordial cell again. Primordial cell means it is firstly created cell. So the differentiation means the process by which the cells lose their differentiated character and they forms the new cell. Okay. Next one, that is the callus. So callus is a group of cells which are derived from the tissues that is cultured under in vitro conditions to form an undifferentiated mass of cells. Third one, that is the somatic embryogenesis. It is an artificial process in which the plant or embryo is derived from a single somatic cell. The concept of the cellular totipotency in plant is an important characteristic of a plant cells. Every plant cell containing a viable nucleus and a proper membrane system is capable of giving rise to an entirely new plant. This capacity is often retained even after the plant cell has undergone the final differentiation in the plant body. When a piece of differentiated tissue from a plant is cultured on a nutrient medium, the mature and non-dividing cells undergo de-differentiation to transform into a meristematic cells and to form a callus. This dividing cells of the callus then redifferentiate to form an entirely new plant if provided with a suitable nutrient and the plant hormone which are requirement for the plant growth. Seeing towards the importance of the totipotency in plant science, so the concept of the totipotency has recently evolved as a powerful tool in the plant science. The plant cell and the tissue culture, which is based on the totipotency, provide the vast application in the basic and applied researches. The plant tissue culture, which was recently utilized only for the basic research study like cell division, plant growth, and the biochemistry. Nowadays, we can say that the plant breeders, horticultures, and the commercial plant growers are now more interested in the plant tissue culture only for the exploitation of the totipoint cell in the culture according to their desirable requirements. The totipoint cells with the bit of callus tissue can be stored in a liquid nitrogen for a long period. Therefore, for the germplasm preservation and the endangered plant species, the totipotency can be utilized successfully. This was all about the totipotency and the concept of the cellular totipotency. So in this session you came to know about the plant tissue culture, history of the tissue culture and scope of the plant tissue culture, significance of the plant tissue culture and the concept of the cellular totipotency. I hope you guys understood well. Thank you.